Hey, hello traders. It is the 18th of July. Welcome to the Double Shot. Let's jump straight onto the markets. Another good day out here from all the indices. Maybe a little bit less. Actually, the Nasdaq did pretty good too. But we had some outstanding moves from the Dow Jones, and we're getting more participation. As cautious as one kind of would like to be back here. What if, it's time to get actually more aggressive rather than caution? This is what I've been thinking here for the past couple of days, on these markets, because we've been so kind of deconditioned to be in trends. We've been through a choppy period. We've been through some heavy sell-offs, right? We really didn't trust the market, December, January. Then we started to kind of shift back. Then we had a little bit of a drop in March. We had the banking scare. So, we had all these events that kind of, and all these kind of put all together, they damage, and that's in commas, right? It just, kind of the psychology of a trader. And that's where Elliott Wave is so amazing, because, these reversal, these trends, these kind of worlds of worries, they all have, this kind of psychological background, where, we act a certain way and we believe certain things, and our behavior gets displayed into the market prices and into these wave counts. And I'm thinking, okay, if it's a third wave, and it still looks rather kind of fairly short in here, right? I'm starting to hear people, oh my goodness, it's already like the top of the wave third, we're probably going to start to pull back. And, and I've been thinking about it, we don't know that, right? I mean, this thing can continue to move higher, and just continue to push and kind of defy, the calls that, hey, it necessarily has to correct, because, literally until you start to have at least something that looks like this to the downside, it's kind of hard to say, well, we could be now into a little bit of a correction here. And trying to pick a top, I mean, you could have picked it here, right? You could have picked it here, you can pick it here, but, really? I mean, who knows, right? Look at the volume in here. It continues to kind of climb higher. And the market just kind of day after day continue. Now I'm noticing, on Twitter and maybe also on media, on financial news, a lot more bulls are coming out, a lot more excitement, a lot more happiness, right, that the stocks are moving. So that's maybe a little bit of a reason for concern. But, I don't know, it's difficult, guys. Like the trading and trending markets are difficult because, they're beautiful if you're on the right side of them and you try to stay with them, but then you always think like, okay, how much do I stay in this thing? I want to capture as much as possible, but what is that? Am I going to place the stop here? Am I going to place the stop very close? What if I get shaken out? Am I going to place the stop below the 20, below the 50, below the 150? How long do I want to stay with the trend? So that's a plan that you kind of have, and just kind of respect that if you can, but it's hard for a lot of people. That's why selling and getting out of positions, especially the ones that work, it's so complicated, because you don't want to give up, you don't want to give up gains, and you also want to, you want to kind of stay with the trend as long as possible. How long that is, that's why we kind of have Elliott Wave a little bit to guide us, but, for me, sincerely, until we're above the 20-day moving average, I don't think there's any reason to panic out of this market. So I'm going to continue to like it here. And, look, RSI is looking good. You're having some bullish, nice volume. The Nasdaq, the 100 stocks are pushing higher in here. Look at the increase in volume in here. Look, day after day after day after day. You know what this means? This can actually mean that one of these days we're going to gap and do that. Okay, not, it's very possible that we could have some of these candles, like this, some of these bigger ones that start to form in here, right? And then, then, you kind of want these people to say, because right now I wanted to kind of say this from the beginning, but, right now you have people really not believing in this thing, but then, and they want to wait for a correction. But here's what happens, right? If you don't get the correction, that, people wait to kind of get in, then what the market does, it accelerates higher, right? And you know how it accelerates? It accelerates to the point where those people cannot stand it anymore not being in the market and they buy it. out of desperation not to lose the trend. They stayed for on the sidelines for so long that the desperation sets in, that FOMO sets in, that you're going to lose the trend and you're not part of this larger party. And the moment you buy it, that's the top and it sells off. Okay, that's how the psychology of the market works. That's exactly how it works on the downside, when you're desperate and you want to sell it and you think, you can't take that pain anymore. And that's exactly when you sell, and that's exactly when everybody sells, and that's when you form a low. And that's when you have the spike in the VIX and all that. And it happens to the upside as well. When you have kind of this kind of massive moves to the upside. And the market is literally grinding everybody higher day by day with small corrections, which we talked about. Pull back into the 20, pull back into the 20, pull back into the 20, increasing volume. Mid caps continuing to push higher. Look at the volume in here. So why would I want to be bearish when I see an increasing volume and a candle that pushes higher? Yeah, you're coming into resistance. I agree. That's just a level. It might get taken out, might not get, but, sure, let's say that if you bought it back here, and you want to take some off into this resistance, that's fine. You loosen up a little bit. If it comes back to the 20, you might get a chance, you might not, and then you're just, stuck with the rest of the position. I mean, that's just a call you got to make. Small caps in here, still not a lot of volume, but, breaking higher nicely. NASDAQ, day after day after day. I think it's going to make new all-time high soon. I mean, XLK, that technology ETF, that made new all-time highs. I mean, that's done. All right. Dow Jones, finally, we're getting the breakout in here. Look at the volume. That's what you want to see from a breakout. You want to see an increasing volume. You want to see the break of the, horizontal lines in here. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And the moving averages are starting to kind of expand and create those alligator jaws, just kind of get bigger. I wouldn't trust it if you would be on a low volume, right? But on an increasing volume, it's the real deal. And I think we're going to explode higher, so it's very early because, I mean, look at this thing in here. Look how long this base is, right? This means Dow Jones can go to 40K pretty quickly. So, I don't know, just trade accordingly. I mean, know that you have, support down here. If we're going to retest it at about 34.5, we want to see buyers kind of step in. We want to see those sell-offs on lower volume, stuff like that. So, growth versus value. Look, it accelerates higher. Value is trying to catch up. In here, IWM, Bitcoin in here, I think is doing that flat formation. I put a tweet out and it went, pretty viral kind of quickly, and just, just a little bit of a call on whatever, the 5-way move, a second wave, 1, 2 in here, and then see if we can rip to the upside. I think it's quite likely. I'm surprised that Bitcoin hasn't really accelerated up. So I don't know what's going on in here that we're not able to break 31K. But listen, it didn't even sell lower that much, right? Even if you have a failed breakout, it means that it did a little bit of damage, cracked the ice, came back, scared some people out of Bitcoin. And because a lot of people, oh my goodness, you didn't break 31,000. We got to sell. This is going to crash. I mean, really? Like, okay, fine. When you fail to break and you move lower, you got to really sell off quickly, like within a day or so, right? You got to have a huge move in the opposite direction because it catches everybody off guard. But what Bitcoin did, it went to 31, came back to 29.9 to 30. I mean, what is this, right? I mean, you can't really trust that. So, I think it cracked the ice numerous times. It really punched it through. Maybe now there's a little leak in the boat. And eventually, I think we're going to break 31, 32, and we're going to go to 40K. So, take a look at the Bitcoin because I think it continues to look fairly interesting in here. Ethereum, I don't know what's going on with this one. But yeah, okay. So quickly, let me just go to take a look at some charts that I wanted to show you. So first of all, UNG stopped going down, right? That's the ETF that tracks somehow, it's not 100% accurate, that tracks the natural gas futures in here. And, we can put a trend line on here, but, I mean, even if I do that, still got a lot to go until that. But the fact that it stopped going down and it created a left shoulder, head and a right shoulder, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a nice pullback. I think the next move in natural gas is going to be up like that, back into the trend line. And then we're probably going to come back, retest the neckline. I mean, look at that level. We just kind of pull it up. Right, it's a beautiful level. 1, 2, 3, 4, try to crack above it, come back, retest it, and then go back. And I think we can have a nice reversal in the natural gas market, with the winter coming. That could be, a nice level to kind of get targeted towards 10, maybe even 12, 14. We'll see. It's still early, but I do like it. I want to draw that to your attention. KWB, it's another one that, we've been kind of on for a while now in our portfolio. 5-wave move decline, 3-wave setback, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC done. If you take a look at Schwab and some of the other ones, I talked about those into the room, into some of the articles, and, that's a 3-wave setback, and we want to go higher. Now, KBW is just kind of starting to work out. I still need to see a bit more. I wanted to see it climb above the 150-day. It's still declining. So, it might be good for a trade. Maybe that looks like an inverted head and shoulder. Maybe, you could target somewhere up into these levels. That's fine. But listen, let's just put some trend lines in here. This is nowhere near yet of being ready to kind of be ready for prime time. It needs to do some work, right? I trust it somewhat, but let's say not 100%, not like kind of how I trust necessarily Dow Jones. And we looked at this. Look, you've had just beautiful horizontal levels in here, right? Touches on the upside, on the downside. Okay, I probably just blocked my software. No, I'm good. Maybe I zoomed too fast. So look at these levels holding. So there's a big fighting near this 40. So I think there's some probably decent potential up into there, but I think it's probably going to drag a little bit slower. Anyway, I do kind of like it, maybe for a trade back towards 50. Quickly taking a look at the Russell. I'm not too happy with this ABC. Look, it came back nicely. It's holding the support. We have increasing volume in here too, right? So it starts to look good. I think we're done, and I think we're going to push. I just don't know how to count it yet. 1, A, B, C as a flat, 1, 2, or do I need to move this low back here and, have some kind of, B wave like that and have, I don't even know, some kind of a complex WXY in here for a B wave, and then a sell-off in a truncated C. That would make the low this year instead of last year, like all the markets. But either way, however you look at it, it's getting ready to move, and I think there's potential here, to break much, much higher in the Russell. It was the one market that was very weak, right, that nobody believed, and it's like, hey, these are not participating, we're still in a bear market, this, that, and the other, but finally we're getting a move to the upside. Dow Jones Industrial, finally we're getting that move, and I'm going to write in tonight's report. Look, ABC 1-2-1-2 breakout on that big volume. So the count is telling us that we should reach 36,952 in this wave 3. Right, and we're probably 1, 2, maybe another small 1, 2, then 3, 4, and 5, and then 4 and 5, 4. So it's time to go. It's time to go. We've done a lot of this, and it's time to trend. So let's see if it's going to work out. I would even want to put a channel in here, guys. Just go like this, a 1-2 channel, just the basic at the higher degree. And then just kind of do it through there. If we can break through it, right, that would be a beautiful, type of a third wave. Let's see what happens. But I do like Dow Jones, continue to like it. I think I'm going to buy even more of it as we're kind of continuing to push to the upside. And now NASDAQ Composite, it's a little different than the NASDAQ, right? They've been trending, one next to each other for most of their life in here, and kind of very, very similar, right? Because NASDAQ Composite holds, I think, 2,500 stocks. And then, the NASDAQ 100 holds 100 stocks, and there's a lot of larger caps in here, and this is what those large caps did with the NASDAQ versus the NASDAQ Composite. So this one is still trailing, but moving higher nonetheless, and that's a beautiful third wave, no matter how you look at it. Okay, so I think, you know, we're continuing to push in here. NASDAQ is reaching a new all-time highs. I think we're within 5% now, or something like that. And my bet is that, you know, I continue to kind of keep that bet that I think Dow Jones will be the first one to reach it. But, you know, it looks like, you know, NASDAQ, it's you know, pretty close up there. You know, with today's move, if we're going to measure and see where we are, right, this is, yeah, but no, still about 6%, you know, up there. So, you know, that's, you know, that's kind of it. I mean, let's take a quick look at the dollar. You know, bonds are fine. U.S. Treasury yields are coming back a little bit in here, kind of giving the market a bit more juice, right? And being held by the kind of the crash in the dollar. The dollar is stabilizing a little bit in here. So I want to see if we're building a fourth wave, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know, that would be a good sign, and we'll probably, you know, we'll probably have a little bit of a pullback and then further downside. And then finally, look at this. Commodities are back above the 150-day moving average, okay? So, very interesting. There could be a trade setting up here, guys, into commodities. We've stopped going down. We've turned. We broke above. So look at GSG, look at DBC, whatever ETF, you know, you like. But it is kind of turning in here, and it could be some nice opportunities. Gold, again, breaking above the 50-day moving average in here as well. Looking pretty good. You know, good volume in here. You know, looking sharp. Let's see if it's not a B wave. I mean, if we're breaking above 2,000, I think I'm going to jump in this thing. And then copper still struggling slightly. You know, oil trying to turn along with the commodities in here. Look at this volume on the buy, right? Low volume on the sell, strong volume on buys. That tells you something. It tells you that somebody, you know, it's more excited about buying it than about selling it, or about, you know, there's like less profit taking or short positioning or whatever. And when the volume goes up on up days, right, that's what you want to see, and that's more confidence that probably oil can maybe go towards 82 for now. VIX here sitting at about 13, you know, at this base in here. And for people that are calling, you know, complacency and VIX is low and this, that, and the other, you know what? It is what it is. That's what VIX is when the markets are trending. Okay, so, you know, respect the fact that the VIX is low. And if you're scared about the market, just buy puts because they're cheap. So, you know, here's your chance to buy puts if you think the market is going to go down. They might vaporize, right? It could go to 12 or it could stay at 13, you know, for 5 weeks. Doesn't necessarily have to go to 20. You know, you need some kind of an event. But anyway, that's just kind of my 2 cents. Listen, I'm always trying to keep these videos shorter, and I end up talking myself all the time, you know, to 20 to 25 minutes. But hopefully you got some good information out of this thing. And, you know, I'm going to write the daily drip later on tonight. You should have it. I appreciate you as always, and talk to you later. Bye.